weren't doing that, you were driving the ship. So I would be on the bridge. Uh, you know, the bridge has about 5 stations. There's a radar station where we can see the radar or whatever, right?
Hmm.
They have the captain's chair, which would be like on the starboard side or the right side of the ship, and the XO's chair is on the port side or the left side of the ship. And I would be on the helm, and another guy would be on the lee helm. And basically, what the lee helm is, it's like the speed of the ship. So they call it the EOT or the engine order telegraph. Basically, we would go. The captain would go, okay, all ahead flank for make for 24 knots. Helm, make your course 090, and then you would go. My rudder is right, steering course 090, and then the engine or telegraph guy would go. My engines are ahead, reading uh, however many shaft RPMs for a speed of 24 knots.
Hmm.
So if anybody's ever seen the movie Guardian, or was it Guardian? It's a Tom Hanks movie about the Navy. That movie is so accurate, it's scary. Like I would be watching that movie and get flashbacks.
You said it was accurate,
Oh
very
yeah,
accurate.
oh yeah, oh yeah. Even the watches, the way they depicted the watch, they would go the dog watch. They would go,
Mhm.
uh, morning watch. All that accurate, 100%, 100%. I can attest to
Okay, so how long were you on the ship? Like, will y'all go months on the ship and then y'all will dock, or how would that work?
that. Okay, when I first got in the Navy, it was 1999. Bill Clinton was still president. There was no 9/11. There was no overarching terrorist threat. The Soviet Union had long since disappeared, and it was fun times.
Hmm.
We would go out to sea, and we would, work hard, and we would do these evolutions. Now, we participated back in 1999 in an operation called Bright Star. And what Bright Star was a NATO operation, which the United States, all the other NATO navies would get together and they would conduct operations. Now, the Marines would disembark and do ground evolutions in Egypt with like the army, and they would do whatever they do in their little ground games or whatever they do. I don't know anything about that. I was on the boat. that's that's the main reason I was on the boat, so I didn't have to deal with that. But we used to do those kind of evolutions. We went to the Black Sea. I got to see what was left of the Russian fleet, and I'll say right now, anybody who knows me knows like most of the times when, especially when I'm working, you'll see me with a Navy hat on or some kind of Navy gear or whatever. I'm always proud that I served in the greatest Navy the world has ever seen. I can say that without hesitation. The greatest Navy on Earth. I can tell you why we're the greatest Navy on Earth, but I think the record speaks for itself. We can do underway replenishment. The Russian Navy cannot do that. The Chinese Navy cannot do that. So what happens in underway replenishment, right? Well, they have these ships, right? And what we do is we line up and we go in formation, right? We don't break formation. So you have the formation, you have the receiving vessel, and it could be sometimes it's one vessel is on the port side of the tanker ship, and one vessel is on the starboard side of the ship, right? We have to steer that ship to where we match that ship course and speed, and we have to stay just like that for hours, right? While that ship is topping us off with fuel. So they'll send over these giant hoses,
Hmm.
and they connect to our ship, and we have to pull those hoses along that line. It'd be hundreds of us just pulling those hoses along the line until we get that. and then we have to, at the end of it, we have to do this big tug to kind of make it lock in with this. I guess you could call it kind of like, it looks like a horn, but it goes into the deck, and it go. What that does is it goes all the way down to the fuel tank,
Hmm.
and then when that locks in, uh, we get to refuel the ship. And also, same time that's going on, so we got three ships connected by two different hoses on opposite sides. Same time we're doing that, we have air ops. We're taking and airlifting our mail. We're airlifting food. We're airlifting any other supplies, parts, spare parts, bullets, whatever. We're airlifting that off of that ship onto our ship, and we're doing this all while underway, while moving. You know, not many navies in the world can do
That's interesting. Very interesting. So y'all didn't see combat. Any combat?
that. Not directly. The closest I got to combat would be after 9/11, because what happened was, a ship, uh, was a Cessna. Uh, we we had procedure in place because there was a incident years ago where a ship had to shoot down a plane that looked like it was going to crash into the ship. And after 9/11, of course, we were more cognizant that this was a possibility. So they had a Cessna that was unidentified. It wasn't responding to message traffic, and it was approaching us like
Mm-hmm.
it was on an approach vector to hit us. We warned the ship off. We said, you got to get. They told the ship to go away. Now this time, by that time, I was in supply, so I wasn't in the operational component. So this is the horrible thing about being in Navy. In naval combat, it's not like the Army, Marine Corps, or whatever. You don't see it coming. You you might be, depending on where you are at in the ship, what your job is. Like, I was in a damage control locker, so I have to wait until something happens. So I have to wait and see if this thing is going to hit. So I have to rely upon uh, those guys in CIC. I have to rely upon those guys manning the guns to be able to do their job to prevent that plane from hitting. Uh, this is the horrible part. So the plane's coming in, and they go to warn it off. It doesn't warn off. So now they go to lock weapons on the target. And then we hear and see this sound. All the power on the ship went out. The
Mm.
damn thing, the damn missile defense system overloaded the damn ship, and the whole ship went black, and we were dead in the water. And we got inbound aircraft not responding, talking about it's gonna, it looking like it's gonna hit. So we're going, oh shit. And that's when the captain comes on the 1MC, and he goes, all hands brace for impact, starboard side. I'm like, oh shit. Now we're really in it. And thank God for aircraft carriers, because the two F-14s came and responded and dealt with it. So we didn't have to deal with that. So that was my closest brush with combat. Head between my legs, go, oh shit. That's no good.
Okay.
Mhm.
So during this time, do you ever go home, or do
No,
so the whole time you were um, deployed, you never get
no, you're
any?
out there. You're gone six months,
Okay.
and that's it. You come back, they give you like 2 weeks leave, and then you got to come back to the ship and start prepping to do it all over
So in a year, you get 2 months home. I mean, two weeks home.
again. In a year, you probably get a month,
A month.
2 weeks, and then 2 weeks another time.
Okay. So anybody else you met during that time you want to speak about?
Oh, plenty of people. uh, this here was this here was Miller. Miller was basically what you would get if you could find a black Edith Bunker with somebody from what was that she came from not Brooklyn, it was Staten Island. She's what Edith Bunker would sound like if she was black and from Staten Island. Then there was Walker. Uh, Walker was from North Carolina, and she was what they called a Geechee girl. I had no idea about that term until I met Walker. Uh, but there are way more. Zua Sola, there was Muckroy. Muckroy was like my ace. We did everything together. I couldn't print out all the pictures of all the people, but he was a great guy, great friend. This is Collins. Me and Collins, we explored the world together. Collins was the great thing about Collins was Collins came into the Navy with the idea of he actually wanted to see and remember things because everybody would when they would go to port, they would just get smashed out drunk and they couldn't remember a damn thing that happened or what they saw or anything. And me and Collins had the exact opposite. We were like, we're gonna go in and we're gonna try to see and learn as much about different places as possible. And then I had a secondary side mission because Tasha always wanted me to bring back the money from foreign countries. Like she always wanted me to find a way to get some of their money and mail it back. So I would get like Lear and different dollars and coins from different countries all over the place. And I would mail that back. She would for her collection. Uh, Collins, Collins put me on. Collins put me in some situations. uh, he was always trying to do something adventurous or whatever. We went to this one place and I got heartburn out of this world. We went to this pizza place in Greece, and that was the first time I ever had deep fried pizza.
Deep fried pizza.
deep fried, deep fried pizza. It was not good on my stomach. I paid a heavy price. Uh, shoot, I've eaten a lot of weird things. In Egypt, I ate camel.
Mm.
That was that was a trip. uh, but spoiler alert: best pizza in the best pizza overseas I had was in the Middle East. Was in Egypt. Best pizza ever. I went to all kinds of places in Italy. Their pizza sucks. I'll be honest. Pizza in Italy was horrible. It was not what I thought it was going to be.
Was it?
It was terrible. It was like, what is this? Where, where's the it was a sheet of paper with sauce on it that they baked. There's no cheese. There's nothing. I was like, what's this? This ain't pizza. I paid the lady. It's like, look, I gotta go get something to eat. That was so disappointing. I actually had some Chinese food in Rome, which is weird. I was in Rome eating at Chinese place. It's pretty good though. Pretty good. I ain't gonna lie, it's good stuff. Um, okay, so there were some uh, troublesome times that first year in the Navy. I had a. I'm not gonna say names because this is public, so I'm gonna say BM1 or OS1. BM1 to give you his bosun mate first class. Okay, so it's his rating and then his rank. So that's E6. You get on that?
Mhm.
Okay. And then his ace boom was OS1. He was a little short dude. Probably was maybe a little bit to my maybe a little bit under my chest line. A little short guy. But these two guys apparently were engaging in some very questionable activities that was unbeknownst to many of us at the time. After that very first deployment, for year one, during that very first deployment, BM1 Davis had said, "Washington, I don't like you, and I'm going to see to it that I kick you out of the Navy. You're going to get out of my Navy." He did not like
Why?
it. I was, slow in the uptick. It was trying to learn the ins and outs of that department. I wasn't moving to his liking. He didn't like me. He did not like me. And he made my life a living hell. And I remember I called mom. One of the times I called mom, and mom was like, I told it just happened. I just told her. She was asking what's happening to me. I told her what happened. She's like, well, I'm gonna pray on it, and this is gonna get dealt with. And I'm like, I don't think that's gonna do the trick, mom, but okay. I'm like, I don't think that's gonna do it, but okay, yeah, sure. So uh, we come back from deployment, and we, once again, the ship is landing. No one's there to see me. But usually when the ship lands, it's like a big event. Like people's families are there, and they actually have contests for who's going to be able to be the first one to leave the ship and go out into the pier, and it's a big thing. And sometimes the wives, you see the wives run into their husband on the pier. And it's this big thing. If you ever Google it, you can see pictures of this kind of thing. Sailors returning on ships. We all man. They call it manning the rails,
Mm-hmm.
and we're in our dress uniforms, and we're all standing there. And I don't have any of the fruit salad that everybody else has yet.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of bare chested, and all I got is that one little tiny sea service ribbon. It's I'm just a regular seaman at that point. Uh, we end up getting off and going on leave. I went back to New Orleans and met up with Tasha and talked and everything and all of that. While I was gone, Seaman Walker was having a different adventure. she was one. She was one of us still on the boat at this time because they do it in shifts. So it'll be they you can get assigned randomly. So one half goes on leave first, while the other half has to stay on the boat and do all the maintenance things and stuff that come back with being stateside. So Walker gets invited to a party by OS1 Watley. Walker goes to that party. At the party, Walker says that Watley tried something on her. She hit him.
Okay.
She hit him. And not only did she hit him, she gave him an eye.
Mm.
She swelled him up. He looked like Willie Lump Lump when he came back. We came back and we're like, what's going on? Why is Watley got an eye? Because he's walking around with the eye. And next thing you know, they're calling OS1. They're calling Watley up for a disciplinary hearing
Mm-hmm.
for hitting Watley. They did that. They actually put her in captain's mask and punished Walker.
What is that? Yeah.
Okay, when you're on a ship, you when you're at sea, they say the captain is God. Okay, this guy has the full authority of a military tribunal at sea. The only thing he cannot do to you, can't kill you, and he can't, give you a dishonorable discharge. He can't give you an OTH other than honorable discharge,
Mm-hmm.
but he can't give you a dishonorable discharge. Dishonorable discharge, you got to go to court. military court. So captain's mast is basically court. It's basically ship's court. And she got put in captain's mast. They took money from her, busted her down in rank, and it was horrible. And I did, all I knew about the story was Walker was saying that Watley had tried something on her, and that she defended herself, and I believed her. But Walker had an ace up her sleeve, something she never told any of us, and we didn't know. We didn't know until it happened. So, give you a bit of a setup. When somebody of importance or the captain comes on the ship, uh, they go, they give a 1MC amount, and it sounds something like this: ding, 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 ding. Whidbey Island arriving. Now, that's the captain
Mhm.
of the ship. And then when he actually steps his foot onto the deck, they give an extra stinger because he's the commanding officer, right?
Okay.
Now, if it's somebody of import like commander or above, you would get the same thing, except there would be no stinger. They would say the rank and they would say arriving. So we're all doing what we typically do, preparing for the transition because the second team is about to go on leave, but they haven't gone yet. So we're out there and we hear ding, 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 ding. Colonel, United States Army, arriving. Like, what's the colonel doing here? Why would a colonel be arriving on a U.S. naval ship? And then he arrives, and the colonel is not just any colonel; he's Colonel Walker. And he goes up to see the captain, and he tells the captain what happened, and the captain immediately calls for captain's mast, all hands, for as far as deck department. So it's first division and second division in captain's mast, and now it's not just OS1 Watley that's being on captain's mast; it's being one day. I'm not gonna say four days. I almost said it. It's being one on there too. And apparently, these two have been sexually harassing the seamen and making them perform sexual acts.
Mm.
Now, Walker did not. Walker, when he tried something on Walker, that's why if you go on my Facebook page, if you are a friend of mine, if you go on my Facebook page, there's a photo album of heroes, and Walker is in that album. This is her story. She's one of my personal heroes. uh, but who knew? Who
Mhm.
knew that? BN1 knew, OS1 knew. We never knew. So now,
So she got her rank back and everything.
oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, an apology, full apology. Uh, you know, and the captain, after hearing all that testimony, it was horrible.
So the captain didn't want to hear it before.
No, okay. Here's how it goes in there. There is the officers, there's the senior enlisted, and then there's everybody else.
Mhm.
Okay. Basically, the officers, even though they're in charge, they're not really in charge. It's kind of like the federal government. If you think the president is really in charge, he's really not. What happens is there's a bunch of people that are below him who tell him basically, okay, you should do A. You
Mhm.
know what? You got option C, A, B, C, and D. Which one you want?
Mhm.
Okay. Oh, you want to do A? Sure. Okay. We'll do A. All right. That's it. That's how it goes. It's the same in the military. They're in charge. Yes, they're in charge, but they're not in charge. So when this came out, uh, the captain uh, went ahead and told, and this is the first time the first and last time I ever saw this in the history of the Navy. He said, "I want both of these guys off my ship and out of my Navy by close of business today."
Mm.
By the end of that day, I was standing on the boat deck. So the boat deck is the aft part of the ship with the flight deck. And I'm looking at BM1 Davis walk off the ship in shame and out of the Navy. I, I told mom that story. She said, "You see, prayer works."
And she's right.
I couldn't argue with her. I couldn't argue with her. I had no case. Couldn't argue with her. I couldn't argue with her. To this day, she loves that story. She loved that story to her dying day.
So, what would you recommend that? Well, okay. Would you say your experience in the Navy was all good, or was it majority good?
I would say majority.
Is there anything you would do different?
I would have went off. I would have never went enlisted. If I had to do it again, I would have never went enlisted. I've told that to anybody who is thinking about military now. Don't go enlisted. Don't do that to yourself. You know, anybody who's ever heard me talk about it say, don't be a door kicker. You be the guy telling the guy that's kicking that door. Yeah, yeah. Team B, A, and B, y'all go ahead, go ahead. I got every respect for those guys who do kick in the doors. God knows we need them. God knows we need them.
You just don't want your foot.
I don't want my kids to do it.
So, did you want your sons to follow in your footsteps in that aspect?
I would have been proud of either one if they had chosen that as a path. I don't have any objections to the military.
Any branch, or you would want them to go Navy?
Of course, because I was Navy, and my affinity for the fleet, always a sailor, so I would definitely have an inclination toward the Navy. But if they chose to go a different branch and go a different route, I would understand, and I would love and respect them all the same. But yeah, would I love to see a Captain Washington someday commanding the ship? Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. It would be even great if it would be Captain Washington of the Enterprise. That'd be just most awesome.
Do you still have the uniform? Do they let you keep a uniform?
Yeah, I can't fit them anymore. My God, I'm too wide in the sides. Some people are actually. I've seen some people that actually keep their uniforms and actually have them tailored to their current measurements. To this day, yeah, some people get married in their uniforms. I wasn't that gun ho. I wasn't that dedicated. I still wear my Navy hats. I wear my keychains and my other gear, but I don't go that far with it. Now, uh, a family member, I won't say name, once asked me could they wear my ribbons and my medals and stuff for Halloween. I was like, hell no. And I would advise you to never ask a service member that because y'all may not know it, but each one of those little bits of color and metals and whatnot comes at many bitter tears, bitter tears and hurt feelings to get those things. They make you go through a lot of nonsense. So no, don't ever ask anybody to wear their stuff. Don't do that. Words are wise.
Uh, in the end, was everybody proud of your service?
I think
Or
in the end, when people saw the effect that it had, or they saw uh, what I was doing while I was in and things like that, I think people grew to change their mind about it over time.
all right, is there anything else you want to say about your time in the service?
Oh, uh, uh, that was where I really got like a taste of politics as well. When I went to uh, shore duty was aligned a lot differently. So, in short, back when I was on the ship, you would MWR was like a little board, and you would Anything extra you did kind of helped your promotion, so you can say, okay, I'm not just doing my everyday job. On top of my everyday job, I also do this, I also do that, and so people would get on the MWR board. It would be a way to boost up their, you know, tally, their record. I did the same thing. I did that. Uh, you know, when I was on ship, I got commendation from a vice admiral of Sixth Fleet.
Mhm.
I went to shore duty, and I thought, well, I'm in a new command, trying to learn the new system here, so I'm gonna get an MWR. Man, did I not know what I was getting myself into. You had to get elected. You had to get elected to get on the MWR board. And I was like, what? You just don't join? No, no. You have to be elected to be one of our representatives. And my division was so big that we got three. We got three seats. So I actually ran, and they said, why should we give you, the new guy, this slot? I mean, why should we vote for you? And I said, well, guys, what is it that you really want? And they said, well, we want a basketball tournament. I said, basketball tournament. And they're like, yeah, we want a basketball tournament. I said, well, you know what? If you guys elect me to this MWR board, I promise you, I will get you that basketball. I will make it my mission in life. I did not know what I was signing myself up for, because that roller coaster was a year long, and I was like, oh God. So I got to the board, and I got on the board, and it's the first meeting, and it's chaos. They, for the first time, the new CEO, there's a new CEO at the hospital. He's taken over, and he has decided that instead of the previous format where everybody was elected and then they elected a president, that the president was going to be his representative. So he put a senior chief as the president of the MWR board, and this ticked off everybody up and down the chain because they had people who were planning on being president that year, all of that. And the guy that was on the board, one of the guys who was on the board from our department, was actually the treasurer. And he told me, he said, Washington, you know what you want, you know what you need to do. I said, what? He said, I'm going to step down as treasurer. So what you need to do is you need to take over my job. I said, oh, but nobody wants your job. That's why you should get it. I didn't know he was setting me up for the okie doke. uh, so I ran for the only elected office on the board that nobody wanted, and I got it. So here I was the treasurer, and of course it was a deficit. When I checked the funds, we were at a negative, and I was like, "Oh my god, how what the hell am I going to do? This is horrible." So I said, "Okay." Uh, I went to one of the guys in my department who was he was kind of a smart guy. He was a H1. I said, "Hey H1, I'm trying to take over this thing, and these finances are a mess." He said, "Well, what are you trying to do, Washington?" I said, "Well, first thing I want to do is I want to create a system where we can take and evaluate these events that they do, because they have all these events on the calendar, and I want to cut out any event that doesn't make any money." He said,
Okay.
"That's going to rank a lot of feathers." I said, "Yeah, I know it will. But my goal at the end of this is at the end of my term to have there to be a surplus, not a not a deficit. Because I've been looking at the books. This thing has been running deficit every year for like 10 years. So I want to change that. That goes back to Chief Pittman, but that's another story. I'll come back to that later. Yeah, so he was like, okay, all right, I can help you with that. And he created spreadsheets that I was able to recreate, and I made a spreadsheet for every event. And I went to the president and the other officers because we had a separate meeting on top of the larger council meeting with just all the elected representatives. So we had a cabinet meeting. And I said to the guys, I said, look, we've ran a deficit every year for the last 10 years. I want to turn that around. And here's how we're going to do it. They said, well, okay, what's your plan, Petty Officer? I said, well, I have these spreadsheets. Every event is going to be given this spreadsheet, and we're going to go through how much we spent, how much we made, and what was the overall cost benefit. If it costs more to do it than it got to make it, then we're not going to do it anymore. They said this is going to be radical. I said, yeah, change really is, but it be for the better. And so we implemented that without even a vote. We took that one. We took that one. We said, "This is what we're going to do." The president said, "Yeah, I want to do this. This is what I want to do." And he kind of took some of the heat for it, even though it was my idea. He took some of the heat for it. But we started doing it. We started implementing it, and um, so in the first month, it was gravy because everybody got their event that they wanted to do. Uh, but started month two, then then that's when the cuts came and people started going, well, why is my events being cut? Your events didn't make any money. And I had this spreadsheet and I could go to the spreadsheet. I said, we spent X, we made Y, so Z, we're not doing it. So I was nobody's favorite. and but we started doing these events, and then the events that made money, we kept doing them, and and the popularity of the board went up and up and up and up and up, and the revenue we were getting was going up and up and up and up. So this was building on. We had two major events that we did throughout the year that were for the entire command, and that was going to be an expenditure all the way out, right? One of them was going to be like this summer thing we did, and that's where I wanted to get my basketball tournament in.
Mhm.
And the other one was going to be the Christmas party, and so both of these were like, you know, uh, tricky. So we're we're getting these events in, and people are coming to me and they're willing and dealing to get their event. They're saying, "Look, I need to I need to get an event in, man. You've cut about 50% of the calendar off of here. I need to get an event in. Well, I could use another vote for that. We might put your event up for consideration if I could be assured that I would get your vote for that basketball tournament. Like, well, you want me to vote for? Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you were to vote for the basketball tournament, I think I could reasonably be assured that your event would reach that calendar. so, so I would be, and my commander of my department was like, "So let me get this straight, Washington. You got this tournament together by wheeling." I said, "Yeah, I did some horse trading, some I did some wheeling dealing, moved money around, and yeah, I got that tournament." And the tournament, not only did I get the basketball tournament, I got a DJ. The tournament had a DJ. It had outfits, uniforms. It had trophies, the whole nine. And the guys were just ecstatic. So I had like an approval rating of 100%. They said, "We've been trying to get this tournament done for years. Nobody ever got it done." I said, "Yeah, horse trading." So the moral of the story: never be afraid to take the job that nobody wants.
There's value in everything. uh, Going back to the ship and how I kind of developed this philosophy was Chief Pittman. He was my first that was my first chief when I left the deck department and got to be in ship service. Chief Pittman was like, whatever job you take on, whatever command you take on, when you leave, make sure it's a little bit better than when you got it. That was his other rule. His second rule, his rule number two, was cover your own ass. These logs can save your life.
Yes.
Document everything. And comes not even a year from when he left and said that those logs saved my life with the first black captain that I'd ever seen. And I'd been in the Navy at that point 3 years. I had never seen a black captain.
Hmm.
Let me make sure I enunciate that clearly.
I had never seen physically with my own eyes seen a captain of a U.S. naval ship who was black.
Okay.
Zero. Didn't say they didn't exist. I said, this is how many I saw.
And how did the log save you with him?
Okay. So it's year 4 of the USS Whidbey Island, and now I'm in charge of the laundry department, and we got a new chief who's taking over for Chief Pittman, and he's a dick. This guy's a dick. Uh, we got Petty Officer Hohurst, who died. I'm afraid Hohurst was a great guy. He took over, but he was a great guy. Everybody loved Hohurst. We used to call him Ho Daddy. He used to go, Ho Daddy in the house. He was a white guy, but I swear he was black. He was part black. And he loved to be on the golf course. Hohurst was great. But we had this chief who just got on all of our nerves, made our lives living hell. And the black captain takes over. And he got word from Captain Hoyle, who was before him, that if you want to know what's going on in the ship, you need to talk to Washington and the SHs because they know everything. And how we got that link with the captain was he used to come to the barber shop, and then he would find out what was really going on in the ship because, like I told you, you're not really in charge. Yeah, you're in charge. You're not really in charge because you only know what they're telling you. You don't know what's really going on. So what Hoyle found out was when he would go sit in the barbershop and hang with us, he would find out what was really going on in the ship. He would find out what they weren't telling him. So he always would come to us to figure out what was going on the boat. And he passed that message down to his relief, who was this black guy. So the ship just spent $1.2 million on the laundry. I've got none of that money. I've got a hole in the deck. Water is coming up through the deck.
Hmm.
I've got washers completely offline. I only got one washer that works, and that's the captain's personal washer. Okay, I got a steam system that's out of whack. And what I did was I took and documented each and every one of these incidents. And I went to the chief, I went to the dispersion officer, I went to the chief engineer of the ship, I went to the damage control officer, I went to the supply officer, I went to all of these guys and told them about these problems. I said, okay, sir, I need you to sign that you've been informed about this and that this needs to be handled. And he signed, and they would sign. They would sign. They all signed, right?
Hmm.
Now, fast forward, new command now take over. He comes down. We're on a simple test run to like test out the engines. He comes down and sees me bailing water over the side of the ship. It's like, are you washing it? I was like, yes, sir. He's like, the hell is going on with laundry? I was like, taking on water. It's like, what the hell? I was told we spent $1.2 million getting this thing up to speed. I was like, I ain't seen none of that money. He said, where's my money? Did you tell anybody about this? You break out the law, Captain. Chief was told on this date. See, note, date, time, signature. This person I was told on this date. Note, date, time, signature. Chief engineer was told on this date. Note, date, time, signature. Damage control officer told on this. I just went down the whole list, and he said, "Okay." He goes and makes a call and says, chief engineer, dispersed officer. I mean, he calls all of them down there, and I'm like, oh shit, this ain't good. And he calls them all down there. They all come down there and they see the horrible state of laundry. And first thing they say is, well, what the hell are you doing here, Washington? And they all go down the list and start berating the shit out of me and try to rip me a new asshole in front of the CEO. He says nothing. Sits there like stone face like Indian chief, didn't say a word. Let them all get their little spill out. And after they finished, then he said, okay, here's what's going to happen. I need all y'all to take a look at this. And he goes down the list with who signed off on, they knew what was going on. And you knew, you signed off. And you told me that we spent $1.2 million on laundry. I gave you $1.2 million. So what's going to happen is I'm going to go up to my cabin. You guys are going to come up with the books and explain to me where my $1.2 million is. My $1.2 million went. Second thing that's going to happen is Petty Officer Washington's evaluations no longer go through y'all. All his evaluations have to be signed off on me, or they don't happen. He got my eval. He got a copy of my eval, my next evaluation, and he said, "Oh, this is no good. This is too low. Send it back." He sent it back to him 4 times before he signed off.
Oh, they were trying to get you.
Oh yeah, they hated me. He comes every time they would go. Hey, send it back. It's not good enough. Send it back. It's not good enough. Y'all gonna get it right sometime today. So yeah, that was my first experience with Black Cabinet. It was amazing. I was like, wow. So if anybody's thinking about going to the Navy, please go, officer. Please go. You can make a difference, like Captain Kirk said. You can make a difference as long as you're in that chair.
All right. It's almost noon, and we do our family Zoom as well.
Okay. Well, we can stop it here.
All right. We're gonna sign off. Do you have any words you want to say about last words about the military?
No. I mean, it's pretty straightforward story.
Okay. But it was almost a time of your life. Or would you call it the time of your life?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. And like I said, I got to serve in the greatest Navy the world has ever known. Yeah.
Okay. We're not gonna say next to China.
they don't stand. They don't stand a chance. I can
just
tell you,
messing
I
with
bet
you.
on the Navy, U.S. Navy any day. I bet on them any day. Any day.
Okay. Except when they're protecting Taiwan.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, any day. Any day. I'll go to see with those guys against any opponent, anytime, any day, anywhere.
All right.
I got faith in them.
All right. We're signing off.